Good morning. Today we're going to talk about slabs and all the possibilities. We got awesome things you can do with slabs. You can do slabs in a slump mold. You can make cylinders. You can make rectangulars. But the first thing you have to do is learn how to make a slab. So this is how we used to have to do it. We would get a canvas, take our clay, kind of pound it out to about a 1/2 inch, lay it between two sticks, and take a rolling pin and roll it out. Now, we have at HLOKC a wonderful, that's how you used to make a slab, but we have a slab roller. And so it's kind of cool because you can make big slabs without the problem. Now, on this part right here, if you can zoom in here, this tells you how thick you want to make the slab. So if you start out and you're wanting to make a pretty big one, you may have to have lots of clay. So you want to start out at a higher number. So we're going to start out at 3/8, and you got to do it on both sides. And you have to put it between two pieces of cloth. So we're going to take our clay and we're going to pound it together to get the air pockets out. And we're going to put it between two pieces of cloth. All right, and we're going to start it out here, but we're going to pound it down a little bit so it's about a 1/2 inch. And we're going to give it a little bit more on this side so it can go under the roller. Put two pieces of clay, canvas together. Make sure they slip through the roller. And kind of straighten them up here, and then you just turn. Okay, and you can see now we have a 3/8 inch thick slab. All right, so we're going to turn this direction, and you can see where I didn't do a really good job and get all those air pockets out. So we can just kind of punch those down or something so that they can kind of get some of that air out. And now we're going to turn this to a 1/4 of an inch. So I'm going to turn it to a 1/4 of an inch on both sides. And then we're going to go back the same way we came. And now we have a 1/4 of an inch slab. Okay, the simplest pot that you can make with slabs is what's called a slump pot. And you just take your piece of slab of clay. Here's the air pocket that I didn't get. You can take a probe and kind of poke it and then pinch that down to let that air out so that you don't have any big air pockets. And so you can design your slab with all kinds of different textures. We have rollers, we have some doilies, and I'm just going to use this doily. I'm going to put it right in the center, and I'm just going to roll this doily over the top. Okay, now I have a design. Pretty simple. And then a slump pot is where you put it inside a mold. Now, if you're putting it in this plastic, then, or wood or something, you have to be able to have a release agent. So we just use a little bit of soap, a little Dawn soap, not a lot. Squirt a little bit in and rub that over it so that when it dries, it'll just pop out. And so we're going to take our design, and I'm going to cut with my probe, holding it straight up all the way around. And I'm on purpose not making this line straight. I'm making it kind of wiggly to kind of give it a little bit of a... Then I'm going to take the rest of my clay and pull around like this. I'm going to get my hand underneath the cloth so that I can turn it over, and I'm going to slump it, and that's where you get the words, the software. You must slump it into this mold. So I'm going to push it down, and because the soap's in it, you're going to have a little bit of leeway so you can move it around and get it where you want inside the bowl. and then you just have to wait and let it dry. So we'll put this out with the other and let that dry, and we're going to do some more. We're going to cut out some slabs for a rectangle and also a cylinder. So I'm going to just put my slab back out here because we can still use this. And I have, for my rectangular pot we're going to make, we cut out what's called templates. So this is 3 by 4, and that'll be the bottom. And then we'll make the sides and the ends. And so we've got to cut out 2 of each of these. And so you can just lay them down and then use, oops, I've lost my probe. We'll cut and we'll get back when I find my probe. All right, found the probe. You can take a ruler and put it alongside your template, and that way you can have a little bit of easier time just to cut straight edges. So we're going to cut out for a cylinder as well as a box. So we're cutting out our slab pieces. Then we're going to have to just let them dry. So we're going to let them dry, and just like a magic cooking show, we're going to cut the video and they'll come back and they'll be leather hard, and I'll show you what the leather hard is. So I'm going to come straight out this way because I need 2 of each of those. Put this over here. Put that over there. Okay, so now I have the 2 sides. I have this. This is going to be the bottom of our cylinder. And I need 1 more, which is the bottom of the rectangles. All right, so we've got them cut out. We can remove all the extra clay, take it and put it back in a ball so that it can be used again without having to redo it. I like to take it like this and pound it all back. And we're gonna let those dry and let them get a little bit leather hard, and we'll come back and put them together. Okay, so now we have ones that are leather hard. So we can tell that because if it wasn't, it would just droop over. So we have a piece of clay that's a little bit dried out, so it kind of holds its shape, and it's called leather hard. And so we're gonna make kind of 2 smaller pots and show you how you can do that. So this is going to be our base, and we have a tool that can cut at right angles. So you can take this tool, set it right up against your clay, and just cut the clay at an angle like this. Then we're going to take the pieces that we're going to attach, and we're going to cut them at right angles also. Now the top part, we're going to keep one side of this so that it has a top part that's not at a right angle. And you can see how if you just put it right up next to it, it's just as slick as all get out as far as making that edge. And you can, before you put these together, you could have had put designs on it if you wanted to. So there's all kinds of different things that you can do. Now we're going to cross hatch this with our little tool, scratch it up, And then we're going to put some water on it. And we're going to put it together. So kind of crosshatch, water, and wiggle. The wiggling is just kind of a shaking. You'll find it that it'll just like it'll move around, and all of a sudden you'll kind of feel it just attach itself. Now, you don't want to just smooth it like a lot. Sometimes people get over excited about putting the water on and they work it down, but then when they do that, they have taken away all of the things that they've just got through doing. If you smooth it down too much, then you wouldn't have the lines to attach. Oops, let's see. This doesn't want to pick up. Let me get this. All right, so we're going to take this and we're going to move it back and forth. I'm going to take the other side, move it back and forth. So it's not a big movement, it's just a little bit of movement back and forth just to kind of attach it. And then you just do the process of smoothing it out. Can pick it up and kind of smooth these edges. And at that point you can add designs to it if you wanted to, but see if it's leather hard enough, it's going to hold its shape and go together really nicely. Clay is one of those things where it's very forgiving. So like say if I hit that one a little bit, I can add some water and I can just push that together. As long as you're working with it when it's leather hard, you can take something off, you can put something on, you can attach it, you can smooth it, and you can just build upon it. If you wanted to add something to the top of this, you wanted to add a handle, you could add a lot of different things to yours. So this is a rectangular slab pot. We're going to do the same thing, but we're going to do a little bit different with the cylinder because it doesn't have to be at right angles, it can just go around. So we're going to take and we're going to go around the outside of this with our scraper, put some water on it, and we're going to make a cylinder. So we've got our cylinder, and we're going to take, since that's going to attach to the outside edge, we're going to scratch right here, and add our water, and we're going to wrap this around. Oh, looky there. See, now that one is because when I rolled out the clay, I probably had some air pockets. We're going to just put it back together again. We're going to scratch it, add water, and put it right back together. Just as easy as that. All right. All right, so then we're going to take and we're going to move this around. And kind of wiggle it as we go until we come to the top. And if it's too big or too short you have to add something to. If it's too long, you have to cut something off. And if this looks just about right, we're going to scratch this up, add our water, and wiggle it. And then you can pick it up and you could smooth it out. Smooth it out with your fingers, smooth it out with a little wooden tool until you get it like you want it. And then you have a cylinder. And you can make these really big. Now, the bigger you make them, it's harder to keep this from collapsing in. And so one of the tricks of the trade is old ladies' knee highs, and you can put them over the top of like cylinders. This is like ice cream containers. And if you put them over the top of a container like this, and you put them over, then you can put your clay around it. and it acts as a resist so that it doesn't stick to the plastic. And when it's still leather hard, not too dry, you can take and open up the hose and pull the plastic out, and then you pull the hose out. Now, the reason I said it has to be done when it's leather hard is that this clay, when it's wet, as it dries, it's going to shrink. So you want to make sure that you take it out before it gets dry, or if it's shrinking, then it will crack because it has to go someplace. Okay, so we talked about the clay shrinkage. This is just a kind of a sample to show you about the shrinkage. We made just a piece of clay that was 6 inches by 7 inches, and then that's what it was when it was just the wet clay, and then it dried and it shrank, and then we put it in the kiln and we fired it. And so what started out at 6 inches, when we put the ruler on it, we come to 5.5. So from 6 to 5.5, so it shrank a 1/2 inch. And so that just kind of shows you that it really does just kind of compress when the water dries and goes away. It just shrinks a little bit. So earlier when we made this slab pot in a bowl, so we call it a slump pot. So we slumped it into a bowl. After we set it outside for a while, it dries, and then you can just turn it over and it'll just come out. Then you can put your name on it, and see, it's still leather hard, so it's still that darker color, and you can, smooth it, and then you can set it aside to dry, and you have a bowl that you made out of a slab that you just slumped into a mold. So there's all kinds of things that you can do with slabs. So anyway, we'll see you tomorrow. Have a good afternoon. Ooh, that makes a lot of noise. And don't forget to wash your hands. Bye-bye.